Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I try to give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing and financial advice for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn or whatever in grad school and like a business program, I give it to you for free here on YouTube. So today, guys, we're going to talk about something that I actually am very excited about. Okay, Happy New Year's first and foremost. But typically, how do you know you're doing better than the average American? This is a question I have been kind of bouncing around and trying to figure out for the last couple of days. And I wanted to talk about it today because we are, once again, this is a new year. 2023 is upon us, January 1st. So happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year. But I want to kind of talk about, or whatever, how do you know you're doing better than the average American right now? Okay, so with that, everybody, let's go ahead and get this podcast started, okay? So first and foremost, you read books about finance, investing, real estate, and college savings. So everybody, I've said this multiple times or whatever, readers are leaders. It is as simple as that. The average American, everybody, reads one book per year. The average millionaire reads 52 books per year. If you consistently are reading books about finance, about scholarship, about making college more affordable, about real estate investing, and how to make college essentially an investment and not a serious liability, the chances of you doing that and becoming a millionaire are significantly higher. So if you want to read a book about how to make college more affordable, I want you to read the book Scholarships, The Golden Road to Free Money by Christopher Phelps. If you want to read a book about investing, I want you to read Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. If you want to read a very good, simple book about finance, which is actually one of my favorites, I want you to read the book The Richest Man in Babylon. If you want to read a book about wealth creation, essentially, and how to have money and not necessarily look like you have money, but actually to have money, I want you to read the book The Millionaire Next Door. Basically, people, readers are leaders, and one surefire sign that, to show you that you are doing better than the average American is that you read a lot of books about finance, about investing, about real estate, and about how to make college more affordable. Next, the next sign that you are doing much better than the typical American is that you have more than $5,000 saved in the bank. So according to MarketWatch, the average American under 35 has less than $3,000 saved in the bank. That is scary. The average American under 65 has less than $5,000 saved in the bank. That is even scarier, because if you are 65 years old, you're approaching retirement, and you have less than $5,000 saved in the bank, if you ain't got no family, no kids, no husband to rely on, or no wife to rely on, or whatever, that means in 4 months, you're probably going to be homeless. Think about that for a minute. So on the flip side of that, if you do have more than $5,000 saved in the bank, you are doing honestly better than the typical American. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you only have $5,000, if you have $6,000 saved in the bank at 65, you are in a horrible position. It is as simple as that. So whether you invest in a brick and mortar account like Wells Fargo, like Chase Bank, like BB&T or whoever, if you invest, or you invest in a high interest account, which is what I prefer, like Marcus Goldman Sachs. If you have more than $5,000 saved in the bank, you are doing better than the typical American. Next, the next sign you're doing better than the typical American. If you have more than $35,000 saved in your 401k, I'm a big proponent of 401ks or whatever. And at the end of the day, everybody, all of us are going to die someday. This is what it is. It's the way that it is. All of us are going to get to a point where we either have to retire because we want to, or we are forced to retire because we're simply too old to work. Simple as that. And 401k investing is one of the main tax efficient accounts that Americans are using to retire with dignity and with respect. So the average American only has $33,000 saved in their 401k. That means the average American only has 1 or 2 years worth of retirement accounts saved when they reach 65 or 70 and they are forced to retire. Think about that for a minute. Imagine you get to retirement, you only have 1 or 2 years worth of savings waiting for you. The good news, however, is that if you do have over $35,000 saved in your retirement accounts and saved in your 401k, you're doing better than the average American. Bad news, however, is that if you don't have $2 million saved in the bank at 65, there is an extremely good possibility you are going to be homeless before you die. For example, if you don't believe me, I'm an engineer. Let's look at numbers, okay? let's say you make $45,000 a year your entire life or whatever, and you retire at 65. So every year you work, let's say every year you work, you basically make $45,000 a year. That means you have a lifestyle that's conducive to you making $45,000 a year. Now, let's say you retire at 65, and let's say you live 20 years in retirement. That means you retire at 65, you're going to die at 85 or whatever. 20 times 45,000 is basically $1 million, whatever. So when you factor in inflation and taxes, not to mention the healthcare costs, that means you are going to need to literally double that $1 million and have $2 million saved in the bank. So once again, if you want to maintain the same standard of living for the 20 years that you're in retirement that you made when you were working or whatever in corporate America, and you were only making $45,000 a year, that means you had better have $2 million saved in the bank when you retire. Because if not, you might be homeless, okay? Next, the next surefire sign that you are doing better than a typical American is that you have less than $6,500 in credit card debt. So according to Investopedia, the average American has $6,500 in credit card debt. The average credit card has an interest rate of 19%. The stock market only has an interest rate of 8%. That means credit card debt, people, is literally almost 2.5 to 3 times higher than the returns that you would get on a good investment or whatever. In other words, people, credit cards are a debt instrument that will keep you broke and in financial enslavement if you don't pay them off every month. And for the record, I am not one of these guys to say you do not need a credit card. I'm going to be completely real with you, okay? I think every American should have at least one credit card, especially if you are a minority or whatever, because if you have a credit score above 750, that gives people one less reason to discriminate against you when it's time for you to buy a house, get a business loan, or basically apply for a major purchase. So if you're an American who has less than $6,500 in credit card debt, you're doing better than most Americans. And my advice is extremely simple. Get a credit card and pay that thing off every month. Simple as that. Because you do not want to basically carry balances on interest rates that are over 19 to 20%. So before I go any further, I want you to hit that like button. Please comment, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys free content. The next surefire sign that you're doing better than most Americans is simple. You have a will. So I have a separate video on this that you should definitely check out. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this subject, but I'll say this. At the time of this recording, only 46% of Americans actually have a will. At the time of this recording, only 33% of Americans actually have an estate plan. And if you really, really, really hate your family and you hate your kids and you hate your wife, then do not get a will. Because if you don't have a will, when you die, and all of us are going to die someday, the family members that you can't stand and that you hate are going to spend a lot of their money and a lot of your money potentially spending money to stop the family members that you do actually love from getting the money that you spent your entire life working for. So my advice is very clear. If you are listening to the sound of my voice, regardless, and listen to the sound of this podcast, regardless of how young or how broke you are, you had better get a will. Because if you do, you're going to be doing better than 53% of Americans, and you do not want family members that you can't stand to have a piece of the money that you're trying to spend your entire life working for. Next, a surefire sign of the fact that you are doing better than most Americans is simple. You have an emergency fund, and you can cover at least a $2,000 emergency. And this one is actually very sad to me or whatever. But they say that the average American is basically 4 paychecks away from being homeless. Think about that for a minute. Investopedia says that the average American only has a few $100s saved in the bank, and they're going to have a serious financial calamity hit them. They get a bill for around $1,000. Think about that. Stories like that are the reason why I started Financipation, and I want you to financially emancipate yourself from poverty, because it is sad to me how little income the average American actually has today, and it's also sad to me how poor the financial literacy is of most Americans today. So once again, if you have a $2,000 rainy day on emergency fund, that means you are doing better, sadly, than most Americans. But the bad news is that if you only have a $2,000 emergency fund, that's probably not going to last you very long. It's probably not even a 3-month emergency fund in most states. You need to have at least a 6-month emergency fund, period. And basically, your emergency fund should be like this. I have a separate video about this as well. If you get fired, you should be able to chill on a beach in South Beach, Miami, or chill on a beach like in Costa Rica or Dubai or something like that for literally half a year before you get another job. You should literally be able to go 6 months basically vacationing before you get another job. That to me is a fully stocked emergency fund, okay? Next, the next surefire sign that you are doing better than a typical American is that you have a total net worth of over $100,000. So I always say that financially illiterate people don't know the difference between being wealthy and having a high income, because wealth people is permanent and it lasts generations. Rich people, however, with high incomes, they can be broke after they get fired or after they develop a certain type of habit. So there's a serious difference between the two. And if you're not curious what net worth is essentially your assets minus your liabilities. So your assets, if you're not familiar with that, are things like the things essentially that you own: houses, land, jewelry, retirement accounts, 401k accounts, HSA accounts, Roth IRAs, life insurance policies, cash on hand. Those are your assets, and they are basically, as I said earlier, the things that you own. Your liabilities are the things that you basically owe money on. Things like your mortgage, mortgage loans, your student loan debt, car notes, credit card debt. Those are things that are your liabilities, because it's things that you essentially owe money on. And when you subtract the value of the things that you owe, your liabilities, from the things that you own, your assets, you get your net worth. So if your net worth is over $100,000, you are doing better, I would say, than the average American. But once again, my advice is crystal clear. The day you turn 65, you need to shoot to have at least $2 million of retirement dollars saved in your retirement accounts, okay? Because if you do not, if you spend 20 years living in retirement or whatever, there's a very good possibility that you might be homeless before you die. And you do not want to run out of money before you run out of life, period, okay? So in closing, everybody, this channel, Financipation, is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. And it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty, okay? Please follow me at The Real on Instagram at @TheReal_Financipation. You can follow me on my Facebook page, Financipation. Check out some of my e-products below as well. And I also have a financial blog that's going to be coming out very soon, okay? So in closing, everybody, please, Financipation. Please like, please comment, please share and subscribe, and please hit that notification button, okay? Because it helps the algorithm and it lets you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy Chris, everybody. I'm out. Peace.